Tonight, we begin with the extraordinary life of a person who spent decades walking the thin line between power and obedience, visibility and invisibility, glory and exhaustion. Not a king, not a warrior, not a priest. Tonight, you are a medieval scribe. Before the candles are lit and before the ink touches parchment, take a moment to appreciate the strange reality awaiting you. Most people imagine history being written by great rulers and legendary conquerors. In truth, history survives because someone with aching fingers sat in a cold room for 12 hours copying words nobody would thank them for. You were born in a small town somewhere in medieval Europe. The year hardly matters because every year smells roughly the same. Wood smoke, damp earth, livestock, and uncertainty. Your family owns little. Your future owns even less. As a child, your choices are limited. You can work the fields until your back resembles a question mark. You can become a soldier and discover just how sharp steel truly is. Or if fortune smiles upon you in its own peculiar way, you can learn letters. Most people around you cannot read. This immediately makes reading seem magical. You don't know it yet, but literacy is one of the most powerful forms of wealth in the medieval world. Gold can be stolen, land can be conquered, titles can disappear after a single bad battle. But the ability to turn symbols into meaning feels almost supernatural. At 7 years old, you are sent to a monastery. Your mother cries, your father pretends not to. You carry a small bundle of belongings and far too many expectations. The monastery appears less like a home and more like a stone fortress designed by people who distrusted happiness. Tall walls, narrow windows, endless silence. The kind of silence that makes you suddenly aware of how loud your own breathing is. The monks greet you politely, which somehow feels more intimidating than if they had shouted. Your education begins immediately, not with books. Books are precious. You begin with discipline. Wake before sunrise, pray, work, study, pray again, eat, pray some more. Eventually, you begin to suspect that prayer may actually be the monastery's primary export. The days blur together. Latin phrases fill your ears long before they fill your understanding. You repeat words you cannot yet comprehend. You memorize passages that seem impossibly long. Every mistake is corrected. Every success is expected. Slowly, almost without noticing, letters stop looking like decorative scratches. They become language. Language becomes knowledge. Knowledge becomes power. Soon you enter the scriptorium. This is where books are born. The room is cold even in summer. The windows allow enough light to work, but not enough warmth to feel comfortable. Rows of desks stretch before you, candles flicker, quills scratch. Nobody speaks unless necessary. The sound is strangely beautiful. Thousands of tiny scratches building civilization one sentence at a time. Your first task is simple. Copy. Copy carefully. Copy exactly. Copy until your fingers ache, then continue copying. A single page can consume hours. One misplaced letter can alter meaning. One spilled drop of ink can destroy a week's work. Every movement must be deliberate. Every stroke must be controlled. You discover something surprising. Writing is not merely intellectual labor. It is physical labor. Your shoulders burn. Your neck stiffens. Your eyes protest. Your wrists negotiate surrender. The manuscripts themselves are magnificent. Some contain religious texts. Others preserve ancient philosophy. Some describe medicine, astronomy, law, or history. Many are decorated with elaborate illustrations filled with gold leaf, vibrant pigments, and creatures that look suspiciously like the artist had never actually seen the animal being depicted. You copy lions that resemble oversized dogs, dragons that resemble confused geese, elephants that appear to have lost an argument with geometry. Nobody complains. Very few people know what elephants look like. Years pass. You become faster, more accurate, more patient. The younger novices begin watching you the way you once watched the older scribes. You catch them studying how you sharpen your quill, how you position your hand, how you mix ink. Without realizing it, you have become part of the machinery that preserves knowledge. Kings rise and fall beyond monastery walls. Wars erupt. Borders shift. Dynasties vanish. Meanwhile, you continue copying. History often celebrates dramatic moments, battles, coronations, revolutions. But civilization survives because countless ordinary days accumulate quietly, because someone records what happened, because someone preserves what was learned, because someone refuses to let memory disappear. As your reputation grows, nobles occasionally visit the monastery seeking documents. They arrive in expensive clothing, accompanied by guards and servants. They speak loudly, they move confidently, then they hand you a document, and suddenly their future depends upon your handwriting. The irony never stops being amusing. Many powerful people cannot read. You can. They command armies. You command grammar. Different forms of authority, yet authority all the same. The years continue their relentless march. Your hair begins turning gray. Your hands grow rough. Your eyesight slowly abandons its responsibilities. Still you write. Still you copy. Still you preserve. The younger scribes complain about cramped fingers. You smile. They complain about difficult texts. You smile again. Every generation believes its burdens are unique. Every generation eventually discovers otherwise. One winter evening, while snow gathers beyond the monastery walls, you finish another manuscript. Hundreds of pages, thousands of words, months of work. You place the final mark on the final page. No applause follows. No celebration erupts. No crowd gathers. The room remains quiet, just as it always has. Yet something important has happened. A piece of knowledge that might have vanished forever now possesses another life, another chance, another century. Perhaps one day a scholar will read these words. Perhaps a king, perhaps a merchant, perhaps someone not yet born. They will never know your name. They will never thank you. They will never understand how many hours your hands spent preserving ideas they now take for granted. And that is the strange beauty of your profession. You were never meant to be famous. You were meant to be necessary. As old age arrives, your pace slows, but your purpose remains unchanged. New scribes fill the desks. Fresh ink stains new fingers. The cycle continues exactly as it always has. You realize that books are not merely objects. They are bridges. They connect centuries. They allow conversations between people who never meet, between the living and the dead, between the present and the future. Long after your final page is written, long after your desk sits empty, long after the candles burn out and the monastery bells fall silent, your work remains. A manuscript survives, then another, then another. Entire worlds preserved because one person sat quietly in a cold room and refused to let words disappear. You were never a king, never a warrior, never a legend. And because of that, a small part of you survives in every page that endures. Not as a ruler, not as a hero, but as something history often forgets until it desperately needs it. A keeper of memory, a guardian of words, a silent architect of civilization. Yet pieces of every legend pass through your hands.